Hey, it's Ken here with Ken's Small Church Tech, and I want to first of all thank FoMaKo for sending me this next piece of equipment. This is a pretty cool machine. This is the KC800, and this is a PTZ controller and video switcher all in one. And let me take you directly to it and show you what we got here. All right, and there it is. A little bit of an angle here. I'll drop that down here a little bit in a moment, but I want to show you some of the things that this has on board. First of all, the inputs and outputs. I'm going to tilt this up just a little bit more. I am recording on here, so I don't want to mess with it too much. Over on the left-hand side over here, I have a audio output or audio monitor. Right now, I have an in-ear monitor coming out of here and going to my ears. We have two inputs. Okay, these are known as auxiliary inputs because they have several things going into it. They have XLR going into it. They also have line in and mic inputs on 1/8 inch TRS inputs down there. And you can actually do two inputs, the XLR and the line in or the mic in simultaneously. So you can actually do two of them into the one auxiliary input. So you have 1 and 2, and you also have a line out. So you could run this to something else, and I haven't figured out like an audio mixer if you wanted to do that, going the other way. We'll talk more about those in a little bit, but suffice it to say that the XLR ins can be either a line in from like an audio mixer, or just simply attach a microphone like I've tried already, and you can just attach a microphone to it because it has 48 volt phantom power. So it's got the phantom power here for you if you want to use that. So you can turn the phantom power on and off just simply by pushing the 48 volt there and holding it, and it'll turn it on and off. As you go across here, you can see I have my wireless microphone coming in here, the receiver. Okay, it's just around the bottom down here for that. Next to that is this is our Multiview out, which I have going to a small screen in front of me. This is the program out, which I have to another small screen in front of me, so I can monitor both of those. I can also monitor, obviously, the Multiview right here on the onboard LCD screen. Next to that is a input 1 loop out. So it'll just simply run the system right through it exactly how it comes in. So if it comes in 4K, it's going to come back out 4K. So you just got to remember where you're actually sending that to. And then underneath that is a USB for recording. So I have that attached to a Crucial SSD drive. So that's what I'm doing the recording on right now. Then you have inputs 1, 2, 3, and 4, all HDMI, all up to 4K inputs. You have a USB out that can go into a computer, for instance, to go to a camera or to anything that uses a webcam. So this is your webcam out. You can go to OBS, vMix, whatever you want to go to. Underneath that is the network cable and the power cable. So that's all the back inputs and outputs. And there's one more that's actually on the front, and it is a SD card slot for recording. So right up on the front of this has an SD card slot for recording. You can choose either to record to a USB or to the SD card. Now let me just drop this down a little bit. I got this sitting on a cooling fan for a laptop, and the reason I have it there is I could turn on the cooling fan if I needed it. I'm running at about 40% fan speed, and you can set that if you need it. It's not very hot at all because it does have a lot of air flow around it just by having this on here. So it also allows me to see this LCD screen a little bit better without having to look straight down on top of it. So I kind of like this on this kind of a flip up tabletop here. So we have the primary part of the switcher here. And so I'm going to do the switcher first, and then I'll go on to the controller part of it. So as I look at this and I look at the switcher, what I'm seeing here is very much the same thing that you see in most switchers on the market today. So they have a multi-view. They'll have, usually in the upper left-hand corner will be the preview, or in this particular case, preset view. And then on the other side is the program view, or what it is that you're going to be recording out to your recording or to your stream. You have then underneath that the 4 inputs. So I have input 1 through 4, accounting, they go with the 4 inputs, HDMI inputs here. Those 4 inputs can all take up to 4K video. So they do not have to be 1080p, they do not have to be half and half. These will, all 4 of them can go up to 4K video input. It will output only 1080p maximum. So just something to remember there. Then you have 2 background inputs here that you can choose the background. I'm going to talk about background when I get to the layers. Next to that is your recording information. So you can see I'm recording right now. It's got the green recording and it's counting the minutes. Next to that is the same thing but for streams. And then next to that is your basic information. It's got your time and date, your IP address for this particular machine, so you always know what your IP address is regardless of how it's been set up. And then the fan speed, and again, you can change that with the menu. Underneath all of this, you have the ability to select any of the 4 inputs. So if I want to select number 1, which is, you can see I'm in the preset, you can just simply select that. It moves it over to the program view, and that's what's going to come out on the program view. So that's what you saw me go to. I can go to number 2. Here's number 3, which is infinity camera on my laptop, or number 4. And so we can do that through the whole thing. So basically what that infinity was actually showing was this particular picture going in through the USB into the camera mode on a screen right there. So if I minimize, or if I take that off of full screen mode, now if I go to 3, you'll see that, but you'll also see the background for the screen. Okay, so those are the primary things that you can do with the inputs. You can do the 4, they go to the program. The bottom 4 go to the preset. So I can select any of these to go with the preset. Let's see. There we go. So something to think about is your layers. Okay, so I'll get to layers in a moment, but in order to show the presets, you have to have your layer, your B layer, turned on. And then you can select any of the 4 inputs to go into the preset. Okay, so that's just basic full screen switching. In this particular case, make sure you have the B turned on. Then you can go to other parts of the switching. Here's just input switching, and these are just plain cuts. You can go to the auto switch, and it'll use whatever transition that you have up at the time. And that's just over here to here. You can do the cut, and it'll do basically the same thing as what these to do, but it'll move just between the preset and the program. Or you can use the T-bar, what used to be a T-bar slider. This is just a finger slider. So those are the basic switching that you can do. You can also choose which channel of audio on the switcher. You can choose the 2 microphones. Right now I'm using mic 2 that this is coming through. And I'm going to get to some of the more advanced stuff here in a little bit. Let's move on to the use of the PTZ controller. So you can have up to 4 cameras controlled by this. So I only have 1 PTZ camera, and that happens to be camera or input number 2. Okay, so I am going to go to 2, and you can see when I push on 2, that actually turns on the camera light, which says this is now dealing with the camera. It also comes over here and turns these on, and over here we have your dials, and these are the things that you can change about the camera video. So the red, blue, green gain button, the ISG button, basically the view from the camera, and focus on the camera. You can have automatic exposure, which deals with these 3, automatic white balance, automatic focus. Right now are all turned on, and depending on what you need, you push the button and it will tell you down here what you're getting. Okay, so you can see that. So now manual, there's 3000K, there's 4000K, and now we're back to auto. So when you're pushing these buttons, what you're going to see is the information right down here so you can follow along. You can see RB gain, and you can see I can't do anything about it because we're in auto at the present time. If I go there, there we go. You can see how I can go red gain or blue gain. So you can play with that as you go and what you need to do. I'm just going to stay with auto for now. You can do the same thing with your ISG. You can PT speeds down below that. Okay, so this controls the look of your PTZ camera. And then you have your joystick. And like any joystick, and you can see it's moving back and forth once you have it set up in here. And I'll show you how to set up when I talk about the menu. But then it just goes there. So let me just bring that up as right there. You can back out, you can zoom in, you can move back and forth, all with the joystick as you go. Okay, and if you hit the joystick, that sends it back to the home location. So that just goes back and zooms way out. And that's just where it goes back to for its home. So it'll take you back to what they call home if you push on the top of the joystick. Okay, so let's come back to here. That does the joystick. You can also zoom by twisting in and out, or you can use the zoom telephoto, which will zoom in, or wide angle, and that'll zoom out. And you can adjust those speeds also like you can just about anything else. So that works it. So this is all of your PTZ controls. Here's your PTZ controls, also camera 1 through 4, and your joystick. And you can manage up to 4 PTZ controllers simultaneously here with very little extra work involved. Okay, so what you have here are a number of buttons that have multiple purposes for. Okay, so you have down here at the bottom, by pressing menu and record, I can turn the recording on, or I can turn the recording off. I'm not going to push it right now because the recording is on. You can also menu and stream, allows you to stream, go to the streaming menu on here. I should say start the stream if you've already got it set up, and I'll show you how to set that up in a little bit. On the other side over here, you can go logo, and then you can go lock also. You can lock the buttons over here. S1 and S2 are actually BK1 and BK2, so this is basically, I call it slide 1, slide 2, but it's basically your background slides. Okay, so you should have background slides set in here so that it doesn't just go to black if you get rid of all of the 2 layers, A and B layers. It's just going to go to black. Well, if you put a background on there, then you have a nice background behind it. You can make it look however you want. You have the volume control here. So this is the master volume control. If you push it, it will mute the master volume, so you won't be able to hear me. You can push this and monitor it. So if you press and hold this, you can monitor whatever input that you want to monitor. So you might be talking, I might be talking on mic 1 and recording mic 1, but I want to monitor whatever is coming through on input 1. So if it's a video coming through, I can check to make sure the video is queued up or sound is queued up by simply monitoring on here. Or you can go audio follows video, AFV, and then when you go to that particular channel, it'll automatically turn on that audio, so that becomes part of the mix overall. So you can mix 2 mics and 4 inputs. On each of the mics, you can have actually 2 inputs on each of those 2 mics, which then gives you 8 total inputs. If you really want to go that crazy, you can do that. Let's see. Scenes. Scenes are the way that we choose what our output's going to look like. So I'll get to that in a moment. This is where you're going to save the scenes. You have your 2 layers, your A layer and your B layer. You then have your background layer underneath that, and you have your logo layer on top of that. So you can see how I can bring a logo in by hitting the logo button in the menu. And so you basically have 4 layers when you're working with different video inputs. All those layers, and the reason why they call this preset, I think, instead of preview, is this: the settings are you preset everything here, and then you move it over to the active program view so that then you can record it. So what you're going to be having here is you have a background is the first thing in. So let me get rid of this particular view at the moment. Okay. Again, layers, A and B. If they're not on, they're going to be turned off up here. Once you turn them on, they're there, and that's logo, or that's number 2. So that's our input number 2. I can have input number 1 for myself over here. And so I'm going to stay with that for the moment. Actually, I'm going to go back to my little helicopter here and get that zoomed in a little bit better. Back out. There we go. All right, my helicopter there is layer B. I also have a 0 blank here, so I'm going to turn on one of the backgrounds, and I'm going to turn on background number 2, S2. So I'm going to hit the S2. You can see it's just kind of a black to white and faded in between, going from top to bottom corner. Okay, then I can put on the layer, first layer of the B layer. On top of that is my A layer, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off the camera, because now the joystick becomes a control for my layers. So if I use my joystick and I twist it, it's going to actually change the size of that particular layer. So now I can put a layer in here like this. All right, and then I can go back to the B layer, which is the helicopter below it, hit the B layer, so now it lights up in yellow, and I can do this, but then I can move it over here, and I'm going to have this right beside me. So now I have a picture-in-picture with a background to give me something back there, and 2 layers, a layer, which is my smaller one, and my B layer, which is my larger one. Now the important part of this is B is always below A, so it's background, B, A, and then the logo. And you notice when I move the A layer around, it's going over the top of the B layer. So you got to always remember that. The top one is the A layer, the bottom one is the B layer with the background behind it. And then the logo can come on top of it. All right, so that's how the layers work when I'm working with the scenes. Now what will happen is, if I want this to be something that I want to come back to, exactly this look. In fact, I'm going to go A, and that's going to be number 1. Okay, there we go. So this is the look that I want to have. And so I'm going to save this in one of my save spots. So I'm going to hit the save button. You can see these pink ones. You got 1 through 4, and then you got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0. So you can see the numbers on there. Right now I have 1 through 6 are already things that I've saved in the past. Now I can save over the top of that, or I can choose any of these that are not used at the present time. So I'm going to put this particular view into number 6. So now it's in scene 6. So I'm going to turn my save button off. Those disappear. They now become ways that I can choose these audio from the different inputs. Now I'm going to hit Scene. Now Scene then brings up blue if there's nothing there, or pink if there is something there. And I'm going to choose Scene 1, which will change over to this one. And it changes to a different camera. If I go to Scene 2, I can change to this one, which is just simply a single input for camera 1. But I'm going to choose number 6, which is the one I just made, so it's going to go back to here. And it chooses the size of the layers plus which input is going to go into that. So there we have now a quick view of how layers work. B is the bottom layer, and if you want to change the bottom layer, you have to make sure B is working, and then I can adjust the bottom layer. Oops, we'll go back to here. I can adjust the bottom layer, I can move it around, I can bring it up, bring it down, bring it a little bit larger. And I can do the A layer the same way. I can hit the A layer button, brings it in yellow, and now I can work on that. If I want to simply work with the bottom, I can do that, but I can also turn this off. If I turn it off, notice that layer disappears. So by turning the button off over here, that layer completely disappears. If I turn the second button off, the second layer disappears, B layer, and now I have the background. I can turn the background off because I got it on right here, and there it is. So it just allows you to set that all up. Now that's all in the preset. Once I have it ready to go, I can move it over to here, and now you can see me a whole lot easier than when you're just looking at me in the big picture. So that's everything that you can kind of do here quickly. Last thing is the menu. If you hit the menu button, you have coming up the menu, and it covers basically half of the screen. And I'm not a big fan of that. I kind of like the way the FoMaKo M4 had it down in a small window, so it never really got in the way of being able to see the screen. But you don't use the menu on a regular basis. It's something you use to set it up. So I'm going to switch back over here to this one here so that you can see it, and I'm going to zoom in a little more here so you can see my menu better. All right, so now you can see the menu there. It's just on this side over here, and that's just turns on and off with the menu button. So you hit the menu button once, it brings it up. Now that brings you up into the menu options here, not over there yet. And you can adjust and set basically here with the setup knob. So if you look at the top one, if you push on the knob, it moves over here to the right, and now you can choose the inputs, what kind of inputs they are. The EDID select, you can go 4K or you can go 1080p. I'm going to keep it in 4K because that will accept anything up to 4K. And you can see now it's resetting itself here because I messed with that. Okay, so 4K, and then you can have image optimize. You can do that all with that first menu. Now to move back out of the menus items here, the input items, you hit the menu once again, it backs up. You hit it again, it backs up. You hit it one more time, it backs right out of the menu. So I'm going to hit the menu one more time. This time I'm going to move down one. This allows you to set up some of your layer inputs and outputs. So I'm not going to go into that right at the moment. If I move it down again, this one actually works for the background, so I can do a selection of the backgrounds, pictures, background layer settings, logo settings, and I'll talk more about those again in a different video. And I can get to my audio now. So this is my audio. It'll tell me which channels are off, so I've basically turned off all of my video inputs for audio. And you can see there's still lines on here. Let me just back out of this for a minute. So you can see the lines on the screen. Those are all the audios for this particular one is my webcam. This particular one is my camcorder up above me that's shining straight down. They both have audio capability. They both have microphones. I have those turned off, so they are not affecting my audio at all. It's just coming through the microphone. So that's just tells you what's going on with the audio. 3.5-inch TRS or 3.5mm TRS, or the eighth inch TRS settings, XLR settings, equalizer. If you need to use an equalizer, you can do that. This is more audio than any other switcher I've had, other than the ATEM series and their huge program that they have for audio. That's pretty awesome. But this is really good too. The monitor it's monitoring the master right now. I'm going to go back out of here. This sets up PTZ, information, chroma key, transitions, and scenes. So you can select them. I'm going to leave those for right now. Encoder. So this allows me to use the turn on and off the record buttons, which I can do here, but it also allows me to use the stream button, which I can also use here. And then setup. So this is where you end up going into network settings. You can see the console IP, and again, there's the information, but you already had it, so we didn't need that. You can also turn on DHCP on that network settings. Okay, right there, DHCP is off, so it stays put. But it's a good way to start it with DHCP on and then turn it off so it stays exactly where it's at. Your PTZ IP list. So here are the number of different PTZ cameras that I have. And I've been playing with this, so I have the same camera logged in 3 different places. The interesting thing about this is the only place I've ever seen it set up like this. So typically what you see is 192.168.whatever. And that's what's going to be important to you as you go. This one is set up in this manner so that you end up putting the information in one spot at a time. So you can kind of skip the first two, come down here, change that if you need to for your local network, and then change the number for this particular piece of equipment. So you got to know what it is so that you can make sure it's plugged in here, and then it will use that based on pushing which button you want to for each of the 4 cameras. Device 1 through, and then ports, they're all pretty much the same port. You can change your time settings, your operation settings, your system information, your factory reset if you want to just start all over, which I might do at some point in the future, just to turn off all the stuff that I've been playing with and just restart it and reset it. In the system information, this is where you can change, oh, not here, operation setting, yeah. So this is where you can change this fan speed. If it's too loud and too noisy and you want to just slow it down just a little bit, you can do that. So it came in at 60 is what it was starting at. I just moved it down to 40. Brightness for the LCD, you can put button brightness, your T-bar calibration if you think it's not working quite right. So the other thing that you can do here as you go through this, and this will really help you out, is actually read the user manual. This user manual, FoMaKo is really good at putting a lot of good information into their user manuals. Read that. I mean, it's got some great information. First thing I did, I spent about 2 hours just reading through this and looking at the buttons and pushing buttons and just checking it all out. To move around smoothly on here, I had to go through this book. And it really will get you out of trouble. Pay attention to what's in there, read through what's in there. Then if you don't want to know what it means, just give them a call. Really good people to work with. The support on here, the email goes to Ivan. Okay, I talk to Ivan on a regular basis, and he's really easy to work with. Now, I talk to him through email. They are on a different continent, so emails tend to take a little bit longer. I won't get an answer usually till tomorrow, but it usually comes back pretty quick. Okay, that was a long video, but right now I want to share one more thing with you, and that is what this thing does so easy, and that is streaming directly from the switcher itself. No need to go into software, no need to go into other uploading streaming. If you're only going to do a few locations, this works really good. The manual shows you how to get into YouTube, how to set it up for YouTube and Facebook. I primarily just spend my time here on YouTube. I don't have time to worry about all the rest. Here's where I'm at, and here's where you can find me. But I'm going to show you how I set up the live stream directly from the FoMaKo KC800. And to do that, I'm going to switch my scene over to there and then swap it over here. There we go. So as we look at setting this up, the first thing you're going to want to do is go into the web interface for this particular switcher. So that web interface, just simply go onto your computer, as long as you're on the same network, and you're going to type in the network address for the switcher. So whatever your switcher network address is, you're going to type that in. Admin, if you haven't updated it. But once you get this all set up, I would suggest definitely put a new password in there. And you're going to go into the settings within the web interface. You have the streaming. We're going to come back to that. I'm going to give you a quick look at what's going on here. We do have the DHCP. This is where you can turn it on and off. You can also turn it on and off with the menus. But this is where you're going to turn it on and off. You have basically making sure that what your IP address is, which you should already know. You can come into your camera settings. This is where you can change the camera settings for your AI tracking. And there's different things on your menus to turn that on and off. They have it preset already for you. So where the M4 I had, or actually for the KC606N, which we have for our PTZ controller now at our church, I had to plug these all in order to turn the AI tracking on and off for our cameras. And depending on which camera, you're going to go with camera 1 or camera 2. And again, that information is in your user manual. And then the system settings. So this just allows you to set the systems, but it also allows you to upload pictures for your background. So you can set up 16 pictures, 1 through 16, and .jpeg. And then you can set up your logos 1 through 4 .png. And it says right in here what size they need to be, 1920 by 1080, and this is 480 by 270. So it's right here. You just load them up there. It shows you how to do that. Choose an image file. You upload it. Boom, you're in. And you have it, and then that'll show up on your switcher. So let's go back to the stream settings, and this is, again, where I'm going to set up my YouTube streams. So I'm going to go to my personal channel here, Ken Small Church Tech, and we're going to create and go live. So when I do that, this is going to bring me into my streaming page and into the YouTube studio. Now the user manual has not changed in the last couple of months, but recently there was a new change in where you find your stream key. And you used to have it down here. Now you have to go to learn how to use encoders, and there's the stream key that you're going to want for this particular page. So let me, So you're going to go to this particular location, and this is where you're going to copy the stream. So let me just move this over here a little bit so you can see it. All right, so as we, I'll just do that. So here's the stream key, and here is the RTMP. So you need to have the address in there, the RTMP first. So what you're going to do is you're going to copy that. You're going to go back to the control panel, and I'm going to delete this just to show you how to do it from scratch. You're going to create a streaming address. I'm going to name it Ken's Tech because that's where it's going to go to. You're going to type in or paste in the RTMP that you just copied from YouTube. Then you're going to come down here to the stream code. This is also known as the stream key. And so you're going to go back to YouTube. You're going to see here the stream key. You're going to copy that. If you want to take a look at it, you can, just to confirm what the last 4 is on so that you know you're adding the correct one. You're going to come back over here to your control panel page. You're going to paste that. and then you hit confirm, and there it is. It's now loaded into your streaming list, and it's got the RTMP address, and right following the live to is the stream key. So it's both the RTMP and the stream key, one after the other. Okay, once you have that, it's real simple at this point to just simply go on the air by clicking right here. So it's telling you that it's off air. You click on it, it'll tell you that it's now on air and turn red. You can go back to your live stream, close that, and there it is right there. So it's starting to come in already. And there's my stream. I'm going to just stretch this out a little bit again. And there it is. So that's all it takes to go live on this switcher. Once you have it live, now you can let that go. You can monitor it if you want to on a different channel, on a different monitor, which is what we do. So we're always seeing this. And once you, like I said, once you go live, there it is. That's all it takes. So I'm going to end this. I'm going to end the stream. Now we're going to go back to our control panel. We're going to click on air, and now it will go back to off air. So they're looking at it kind of backwards from what we normally do. There it is. So now it's off air. And what I can do then is I'm going to switch back over to this. And you can do the same thing by going on air by using keys on here. So to go on air, you're going to hit menu and stream. You hit those together, and that will tell you that you're on, or that will send you on air. Same thing that I just did on the menu, but since I was in the menu, I just used that. So that's all it takes. Probably the simplest I've ever used a streaming from a piece of hardware. This is it. You don't have to cut and paste. You don't have to do other than that what I just showed you. And that's it. It's all done on the web interface. Great little system. And from there, I just want to say thank you for watching all of this. And again, if it's worth your while to watch this all, please share this with others so they can get some information from it. Like it. Leave me some comments, especially if you made it all the way through. What didn't you like? What did you like? Thank you very much. God bless, and have yourself a great day.